In Athens in 470 BC, a great soul was born, Socrates. Socrates' father was a sculptor and his mother was a midwife. However, Socrates did not follow in his father's footsteps and chose a less traveled path to become a philosopher. Socrates' life was full of difficulties. Firstly, his philosophical ideas were not accepted by the public. He firmly believed that knowledge was a virtue, and he rejected many of the ideas of the Athenian society of his time and thought that the pursuit of material pleasures was foolish. Well, the new concepts he taught made him an antagonist in the society of his time. However, Socrates never gave up because of these difficulties. He stood firm in his beliefs and exemplified them by his own behavior. He lived an extremely simple life, and his disciples, such as Plato and Cicero, were deeply influenced by him. He guided people to think deeply and discover the truth through question and answer, which was later known as Socratic questioning. However, Socrates' ideas were not accepted by all and even attracted the hostility of many. In 399 BC, accused of corrupting the youth and not believing in God, Socrates was eventually convicted by a jury of 500 citizens, by a vote of 200 citizens, by a vote of 280 Socrates was then sentenced to death, by a vote of 360 to 140 on charges of impiety and corrupting the minds of the youth of Athens for not believing in God. According to Xenophon and Plato, Socrates had a chance to escape. His students were ready to bribe the prison guards, and after the escape Socrates would flee from Athens, but Socrates refused to escape because he realized that he had to abide by the city-state's laws and obey the results of the city-state's citizenry and judges and juries. Otherwise, he would have violated his contract with the city-state and further undermined the authority of Athenian law, which would have been contrary to the principles advocated by Socrates. He stood firm in his belief that wisdom could only be gained by facing death. In his last days, Socrates discussed philosophical questions with his friends and disciples as he always did. He talked about the immortality of the soul and the meaning of life. Although Socrates encountered many difficulties in his life, he still had a passion and love for life. He always looked at life optimistically and believed that every difficulty was an opportunity to learn and grow. He firmly believes that the true value of life does not lie in the pursuit of material abundance, but in the pursuit of spiritual abundance. This is why he chooses to live a simple and poor life. Socrates was a good listener, and he specialized in using questions and answers to guide people's thinking. He believed that by asking questions, we could discover that our knowledge of things was actually limited. Therefore, he always reminded us to be humble and to be aware of our ignorance. He said, "All I know is that I know nothing." This is also regarded as his famous saying. In the face of death, Socrates showed unrivaled courage and steadfastness. His friends felt sad and helpless about his fate, but Socrates was not afraid. He told them that death was not to be feared, for he saw it as a mere process of the soul's liberation from the body. He believed that the soul was eternal and would not perish with the death of the body. In his last moments, he remained calm and collected. He faced death with serenity and equanimity. He drank the poison and then lay down slowly, quietly waiting for death to come. His disciples looked at him with tears streaming down their faces, but Socrates said quietly to them, "We owe Asclepius a cock. Don't forget to give it to him." The story of Socrates is full of wisdom and courage, and his life and thoughts have had a profound impact on future generations. He taught us that true knowledge comes from deeper reflection on self and the world, that true courage comes from perseverance in our beliefs, and that true happiness comes from a love of life. He taught us to persevere in our beliefs, even in the face of life's difficulties, and to never give up in the pursuit of truth. His bravery and perseverance have served as an example for countless generations to come. The story of Socrates, the great philosopher, will live on forever.
What can we learn from the life of Socrates? The pursuit of truth. Socrates believed in the importance of the pursuit of truth and knowledge. He encouraged us to question our own ideas and to seek the truth through questioning and dialogue. We can learn from him that we should remain curious and inquisitive about the world, no matter what the circumstances, holding fast to beliefs Even in the face of death, Socrates held fast to his philosophical beliefs, and this kind of loyalty and perseverance in beliefs is something we can learn from. We can learn from this kind of loyalty and perseverance in our beliefs. No matter what kind of difficulties we are in, we should always hold on to our values and beliefs. Plain and simple lifestyle. Socrates believed that material pleasures were not important and chose to live a simple and plain life. He taught us that true happiness and satisfaction do not come from material wealth, but from the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. Humility. The humility of Socrates, who said, "All I know is that I know nothing," teaches us that no matter how much we learn, we should remain humble and reverent. Courage. In the face of life's difficulties, and especially in the face of death, Socrates demonstrated unrivaled courage and determination. He shows us that only by truly understanding and accepting the finiteness of life can we live a real and meaningful life. How do we apply it to our conduct and self-cultivation? Many of Socrates' philosophies can be applied to our daily lives to help us cultivate our character and conduct ourselves in the world. The pursuit of truth. In study and work, we should maintain curiosity and inquisitiveness and have the courage to question and explore. In interpersonal relationships, we should pursue honesty and transparency, respect the truth, and avoid lying or misleading others. For example, when you come across a question at work that you don't understand, you can take the initiative to find out the answer rather than choosing to accept that you don't understand the situation. Or when you see a news story on social media, you can check its truth instead of accepting it. Standing up for what we believe in. We need to identify our values and beliefs and stand up for them in times of stress or difficulty. Whether it is a moral challenge or a difficult life situation, we need to have the courage and determination to stand our ground. In a daily life, this may be manifested in adhering to one's lifestyle and values. For example, if you firmly believe in the importance of healthy eating, you have to stick to your diet even if everyone around you is eating fast food. Simple lifestyle in the modern world of material abundance. We can learn from the simple lifestyle of Socrates, which does not seek material enjoyment, but rather seeks spiritual fulfillment and enrichment. We can focus on improving our knowledge and skills and seek meaning in our lives, not just material wealth. For example, when it comes to consumer decisions, choose to buy what you really need rather than what you want. For example, buying a moderately priced computer that performs well enough for you to use rather than the latest and most expensive model. Humility. No matter how big our achievements are, we should always be humble. Being humble makes us open-minded, willing to learn, and willing to listen to others. When interacting with others, humility makes it easier for us to be respected and loved by others. For example, when you have achieved something at work and receive praise from others, you can express your gratitude and point out that it is the result of a team's effort and not your credit alone. And remember, always keep learning. Courage. We should have the courage to persevere in the face of difficulties and challenges. Whether it's a problem at work or a setback in life, we need to be courageous and find a solution to the problem. For example, when we encounter difficulties in life such as unemployment or relationship breakdown, we need to have the courage to face the reality and actively seek solutions to the problems, instead of running away or becoming depressed. The philosophy of Socrates teaches us to have the courage to pursue truth, the determination to hold fast to our beliefs, to lead a simple life, to remain humble, and to have the courage to face difficulties. These are practical principles that we can apply in our daily lives. Words of mutual encouragement. To know one's own ignorance is the highest wisdom. Knowing what you don't know is the beginning of the pursuit of knowledge. I can't teach anyone anything, I can only make them think. The true power of learning and knowledge comes from our own exploration and reflection. Sometimes our greatest enemy is actually ourselves. We need to face ourselves and overcome our fears and doubts. Spiritual wealth is more important than material wealth. The real value does not lie in how much material wealth we have, but in our spiritual growth. Don't argue with others for the rest of your life. Even if they say, 1 + 1 = 6, you have to smile and say, it's right. If your heart is big, things will be small. When the heart is wide, there's no more worries. For the rest of your life, don't compare yourself with anyone, because those who compare with others is unhappy first,